This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James. This is your Rangers news channel, guys. Obviously, please smash that sub. Make sure you never miss out on the great free content. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about Phillipe Clement and transfer policy, and obviously the transfer window and where we are at this moment in time. Clement obviously gives two press conferences. He gives one to the media in general and in front of the cameras. He then speaks to the written media, which is then embargoed for a certain length and period of time. He's spoken to the written media, and that now has been released. And there were some quite telling remarks made by Clement, about the rebuild, about the position that we're in, about the job that is in hand, and about the players that we have in the squad at this moment in time. Perhaps a little bit more open and honest than it was during the actual presser itself. Clement was asked, obviously, around the issue about players leaving and getting players out of the club. We all have our favourites that we want out of the club. We all want players that we want to see depart the club. And we all have known for a long while the major stumbling block on that is wages. We know that players who are high wage earners are unlikely to get those high wages elsewhere. Clement says you can't hold a gun to the heads of the players. Obviously you can't. This is not America. But I just want to say, okay, it's clear for everybody that some players want to go. That's some players clearly been said 2 months ago before the pre-season started, they would not be part of the project because of circumstances like wages. We need to lower the amount of wages. It was too expensive last season for the club. So that's also one part of the story. So they know, but they're still here. I cannot do more about that. Now, there's some interesting comments in this statement from Clement. We obviously know the players who want to go. Obviously, Todd Cantwell has put in a written transfer request. Yanis Hadji, although there are conflicting reports about Yanis in the media. I think there is an element there that Rangers want Hadji gone because they don't want to give him that $6,000 pay rise should he play another game. But some other interesting comment was there that, first of all, that he says that the wage bill for the club last year was way too expensive. And I think that's a fair comment. The wage bill for the club last season was exceptionally high. In comparison to what we actually got out of those players. If you take the consideration that the wage bill of Rangers was higher than that of PSV Eindhoven, and PSV Eindhoven absolutely smashed us. In addition, our wage bill was higher than Celtic's, and again, they took a League and Cup double. So I do think that, that there is an element of truth in that remark that the wage bill last year was way too expensive. It's interesting as well that he talks about certain players have been told that they're not part of the project due to the fact their wages are way too high. Now, obviously, you can put 2 and 2 here together and get 4. You can also put 2 and 2 here together and get 5. Obviously, you look at high wage earners at the club who may be on their way out. That's Cyril Dessers, £27,000 a week. Ben Davis, £27,000 a week. James Tavernier, £30,000 a week. Tom Lawrence, over £20,000 a week. These are all players who have been linked, previously with a move away from the club, in rumours and reports. And obviously we don't know how much beyond conjecture those reports are. But it appears that Clement has had some tough conversations with certain players saying that, look, long-term, your future doesn't lie at Rangers. Long-term, you need to find another club. But, Rangers are in a position where they can only, if those players are under contract, they have to obviously continue to pay their wages. And they can only, get rid of those players if someone comes in and, puts in a substantial bid for the player and also as well agrees to a wage demand that, that matches the requirements and the requests of the player and his agent. So that is going to hold it back. But it's quite telling, isn't it, that there's definitely a remark here, a clearness that, that those high wage earners are the ones they want to get out of the club. They want to obviously try and clear the decks a little bit. They want to get rid of certain players. Yes, Clement didn't go on to name names, and I wouldn't expect him to. I wouldn't expect him to sit there and say, well, it's this player, it's that player, it's this other player. So, at the end of the day, though, you've got to kind of take it from the aspect, though, that it is clear that Rangers want rid of certain high wage earners. We can but guess who they are by going off what we think or what we know those high wage earners are on, like Robbie Matondo, 24 grand, Tav, 30 grand. Like I said, players who have previously been linked with an exit from the club. So quite telling that obviously was in there. Now, obviously, Phillipe Clement was further questioned by the media and was asked, if you can't find a solution, do you consider you won't be able to bring players in? So that's obviously a solution to getting these high wage earners off the books. That, if we can't find a way to sell them or a way to move them on, then at the end of the day we're going to be stuck with them. They have a contract with us. We are legally obliged to pay them said contract until somebody comes in and buys them. So this is what he said. He said, we will see. Everybody's working 2 weeks really hard to do the right things. I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I had, but I don't. So, look, as we all know, there will be no arrivals until there are sales. So at this moment in time, don't expect to see Rangers signing any players unless players depart the club. It's quite clear that, that Rangers as a club, need to get rid of some of those high wage earners if they're going to make any further purchases. At this moment in time, we are not in a position where we can bring in players. We don't have the money. We don't have the wage bill gaps. Yes, we have already lowered the wage bill with obviously departures like Lundstrom and Barisic, Kemar Roof, Connor Goldson, Sam Lammers, etc. would have cleared a substantial amount from the wage bill, but there is still further cuts needed to be made by all accounts. You can kind of take this two ways. You can kind of take this in terms of that there is a real drive here to rebuild the club, to restart the club, to move the club forward. You can take it that way, but you can also take it, is there a financial concern hanging over the club because of what this statement and this need to really cut wages in a heavy way? Is this something we do need to worry about and do need to be concerned about? Look, I don't know for that. I don't know what the financial situation of the club is. We can quite clearly see that there is a desire to put into place a player trading model. We can quite clearly see there is also a desire to move on those players that we need to move on. But by that same token, you've got to look at it from the aspect of, are they making these cuts just for those reasons, or are there other reasons they are making those cuts? Who knows? But that obviously is where we're up to at the moment in terms of player arrivals. So like I said, don't expect to see any players coming through the door. Clement was also asked about, did he feel the frustration of the fans at this moment in time? To which he said, I think these things happened more than 10, 20 years ago. There's a shift all over Europe in that way. I think the first thing that fans don't want is to come in the same situation as 12 years ago. And that's obviously clear. We don't want the club to go into liquidation. We don't want the club to go bankrupt. And we have to have a financially sustainable club with a financially sustainable model to take this club forward. And we don't get in the external revenue streams of the Premier League, of La Liga, of Serie A, of the Bundesliga, for example. He said they don't want that. So they need to understand that the club tries to do all the good things, stay healthy and get results. So if you have 6 players end of contract, maybe you need to let somebody else for free to cut down the wages. It costs time to rebuild that. I know a big part of the fans understand that, maybe some not. Can be. So we need to focus on showing them that we want to give everything every day for this club. The players need to show that on the pitch and get results. And there's only one thing important for the fans, and that's winning games. I know. So we need to focus on showing them that we want to give everything every day for this club. The players need to show that on the pitch and get results. And there's only one thing important for the fans, and it's winning games. I know and understand that. So, I think it's quite clear that Clement is kind of saying there that, we do need to kind of just accept that what we've got is what we've got. And we've got to kind of drive these players on to be the best they can be. And then we're stuck with these players no matter what we think of them. I know we don't. I know there's a substantial portion of the fans that don't think James Tavernier should play, that Cyril Dessers should play, Tom Lawrence should play. That's just the way it is. But unfortunately, that's where we're up to at this moment in time. Until we can move players on, until we can get new blood in, we have to do the best we can with what we've got. Clement appears to understand that. That may hopefully result in him changing tactic to some degree or changing the way we play to some degree. I don't know, but something does need to be done. He was asked about how he felt about the project that he's got at Rangers. He says, yes, because it's a massive job and I knew it. And it was for me so easy not to do it. But maybe that's I don't know if it's the word in English, my masochistic side. No, I love this club really. And I only had one time that feeling with a club, and it was in Bruges where I was 16 years because it was my second family. I feel after 7 months like part of this club. I could not leave this project now. That was impossible. Although there were chances for that, No, but I know we need time to build things, and I cannot say how fast things will go, but I can say that everybody is working really hard. Look, I think, the comment goes on. It's clear that he's here for the long haul. There's clear that perhaps there has been interest in him and there has been things offered to him away from Rangers, and he's obviously clearly turned those down. There was obviously rumours linking him to the Belgian national job. I think he understands that this is a huge project. This is a massive project. This club is in such a bad way at this moment in time that it is suffering from genuinely dreadful decisions that have been made by the previous management of the club and the board of this club over contracts, over players, player deals, over players departing, players arriving, and something needs to be done about it. And changes need to be made. And I'm pretty confident that Clement is quite clear that he knows what he wants and needs. What else did he go on to say? He says, but I can say that everybody's working really hard. I am confident for the future of this club because now decisions are made to keep this club healthy first, obviously referencing the player trading model. Secondly, to think short term, yes, where possible, but thinking also about long term. This is what the club needed. Do I love it to be in a club where my heart is and they can spend cash all over and I can get experienced players and have a squad where every position is double or triple? Yeah, of course, I would love that. But I know it would not be the case here. But I don't run away from it. No, I see it as maybe the biggest challenge there is, and I love a challenge. So, it's quite clear that he is not going to get the club back to, having 2 or 3 players, in that role, having 2 or 3 players for every role, 2 or 3 players of experienced standards. I think, the chances of us bringing in experienced players and players that, that fans will consider as being experienced enough to lead the line or to run the defense or to be that number 6 at the base of the midfield. I think that is not going to happen now. I realistically think between now and the 30th of August, there will be no movement on that because of the lack of funds, the lack of space in the wage bill, the desire of the club to substantially lower the wage bill to build a trading model. It's a difficult balancing act for Phillipe Clement. It's quite clear that he does have one hand tied behind his back, that he has to do this job. He has to obviously deliver victories, trophies, etc. That is the expectation at Rangers. But he also has to build something long-term for the future. It's a difficult one, obviously. And it starts today against St Johnstone at 5:45. Come and join us for the live stream, guys. Let me know what you think of what Clement has had to say in this interview that he has given after his press conference before the game today. Thank you for watching. As always, guys, 2 favors I ask of you on the way out. 1, please obviously smash the like. And 2, remember always, we are the people.